All right, let's jump right into a classic, Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. And listen, forget that dusty book you might remember from school. This is not just some old story. It's a gripping psychological drama about sin, secrets, and what it's like to live under the glare of public judgment.
I mean, really think about it. That feeling, the one where you feel like everyone is watching you, whispering about you, judging your every move, well, that exact feeling is the engine that drives this entire novel, and it's what makes a story written way back in 1850 feel so unbelievably real today. So let's set the scene. We're in 17th century Puritan Boston. And you have to understand, this town isn't just a backdrop. It's practically a character in itself. This is a place where your private life is everybody's business. And if you step out of line, well, the punishment is swift and it is very, very public. And in a pressure cooker like that, all it takes is one single act, one moment of passion to light a fuse and kick off the whole story. This is where we meet our hero, Hester Prynne. She's walking out of the town prison, and her crime is adultery. Her punishment? It's not jail time. It's to wear a big scarlet letter A stitched to her clothes for the rest of her life. It's this constant walking billboard of her shame for everyone to see every single day. Now, here's something you got to know about this book. It's built with this incredible, almost perfect symmetry. The entire narrative pivots on three major scenes that all take place on the town scaffold, the platform of public shame. And we're about to witness the first one. So, up on that platform, you've got our three main players in this whole drama. First, there's Hester, the sinner, standing there defiant, holding her baby. Then you have the town's beloved minister, Arthur Dimmesdale. And get this, his job is to demand that she name the baby's father. And then, lurking in the crowd, there's this mysterious figure who turns out to be Hester's husband, who everyone thought was lost at sea. He renames himself Roger Chillingworth, and you can just feel his silent vow for revenge. So the whole town is screaming at her, "Name him! Who is he?" And with all that pressure, Hester just stands her ground and says these words. She refuses. And that single act of defiance, it seals everyone's fate and sets the stage for 7 long years of secrets and torment. So yeah, Hester's refusal to speak locks all three of them into this terrible ordeal of hidden guilt, simmering secrets, and a really slow-burning revenge. 7 years, an awful long time to hold on to a secret, right? And over these 7 years, Hawthorne basically runs this fascinating psychological experiment. What's worse? The sin that everyone can see, or the sin that's hidden deep inside? And this is the absolute core of the story. See, Hester's sin is public. She's forced to face it every single day. And because of that, she grows. She becomes stronger. That A for adulterer actually starts to mean able in the eyes of the town. But Dimmesdale, his sin is a secret. And that internal shame, it's like a poison. It just eats him alive from the inside out. There's no escape. And who's there to help Dimmesdale with his failing health? Roger Chillingworth. He becomes the minister's personal doctor. Now, back then, an old term for a physician was a leech. I mean, how perfect is that? Because that's exactly what he does. He latches onto Dimmesdale, pretending to cure his body while he's actually feeding on his guilt and torturing his soul. So you get this wild reversal. Hester, the total outcast, actually starts to earn the town's respect through her quiet strength and charity. Meanwhile, Dimmesdale, the celebrated holy man, is literally falling apart behind closed doors, whipping himself in secret, trying to punish himself for the sin he can't bring himself to confess. All this hidden agony, this slow decay, you just know it can't go on forever. It's all building and building to one final explosive moment of truth. And remember that perfect structure I mentioned? Well, here it is. It all comes back to the scaffold. You have the first scene of public shame at the very beginning. Then, halfway through, there's a spooky midnight scene where Dimmesdale stands on it all alone, screaming into the dark. And it all leads to one last trip to that platform, this time in broad daylight. But just before that final act, there's this glimmer of hope. Hester and Dimmesdale meet in the forest, a place outside of Puritan rules. And they make a plan to run away together, to escape to Europe, and start a new life. Hester even takes off the scarlet letter, and for just one beautiful moment, you think they might actually make it. Yeah, that hope doesn't last long. After delivering the most amazing sermon of his entire life, instead of running for the getaway ship, Dimmesdale turns and walks straight to the scaffold. He pulls Hester and their daughter Pearl up with him. And there, in front of everyone, he confesses everything. He rips open his shirt to reveal, some say, a letter A carved into his own flesh. And then he collapses and dies right there in Hester's arms. That confession is like a bomb going off in the middle of town. It changes everything, and it decides what happens to everyone left behind. And the fallout is quick. Chillingworth, his life's mission of revenge is over, so he's got nothing left to live for. He just withers away and dies. Pearl gets all his money and gets to escape to Europe to live a happy life. But Hester, her story has one last amazing twist. After being away for years, she comes back, and she chooses to put the Scarlet Letter back on. But it's different now. The meaning has changed. It's no longer a brand of shame forced on her by the town. She's transformed it into a symbol of her own strength, her own survival, and women now come to her for advice. She completely owns her story. And that leaves us with the huge question at the heart of the novel. Who really had it worse? Hester, whose sin was out there for everyone to see? Or Dimmesdale, whose sin was hidden away, festering in the dark? Who truly carried the heavier burden? It's a tough question with no easy answer, and that right there is why the story is still so powerful.